Okay, so welcome to the deep dive. It's March 22nd, 2025, and today we're going to be taking a deep dive into something that feels pretty huge.
Yeah, it's a big one.
OpenAI's new Agents SDK.
Right.
This is something that, everyone's talking about it. It dropped on March 11th. And to help us really understand what this means and where things might be headed from here, we're also going to be digging into Nick Bostrom's book, Superintelligence.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's a book that's kind of legendary in the AI community.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And Sam Altman himself has said it's essential reading for anyone trying to grasp the potential of AI. So that's what we're going to be doing today, basically, trying to pull out the most important insights from these developments and help you understand both the capabilities of these AI agents and, well, some of the big questions they raise for all of us moving forward in 2025.
It's fascinating to be having this conversation right now, like right as this is all unfolding.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start with superintelligence. For those who might not be familiar, what's Bostrom's central argument there? What's the big idea?
Well, essentially, he's trying to anticipate the future of AI. He lays out this kind of roadmap of where AI could be going. It starts from the kind of autonomous agents we're beginning to see today and moves towards, systems that might actually end up being more intelligent than humans across pretty much every area.
Right, right.
He talks about a few different ways this could happen. Things like brain emulation,
Right.
genetic engineering, but the most relevant path for our conversation today is really the path of AI development, like directly through software.
Yeah.
And that's where these AI agents come in.
Okay, so these AI agents are a big step on that path.
Exactly.
So how does Bostrom see this AI development playing out? What are some of the big kind of core concepts he puts forward?
One of the big ones is this idea of it's called the kinetics of an intelligence explosion. The idea is that once AI reaches a certain level, of sophistication, its ability to learn and improve could actually speed up dramatically.
Oh, wow.
So it wouldn't just be like a steady, linear progression of getting smarter. It could be this exponential thing where the rate of progress actually keeps increasing.
That's kind of terrifying, but also kind of exciting.
Right, exactly. And that's another big theme he talks about, like the inherent existential risk and uncertainty that comes with powerful AI. As these systems get more intelligent,
Right.
more autonomous, the stakes get higher in terms of making sure they're aligned with, human goals and values.
Okay, so how does this connect to the release of OpenAI's Agents SDK? Are you saying that this SDK, by actually enabling AI to perform tasks in the real world, it
Yeah.
sort of brings those questions of control and responsibility, that Bostrom raises, it brings them front and center, like right here, right now in 2025?
Exactly. I think Bostrom's work goes from the theoretical to the very practical with this technology.
Yeah.
Because this SDK, it allows AI to move beyond just processing information
Right.
to actively engaging with the world.
So they can do things.
Yes, they can do things.
Okay.
Conduct web searches, use computer applications,
Yeah.
manage workflows, all these things, and that means the questions Bostrom asks about how do we guide,
Right.
oversee increasingly autonomous AI systems.
Yeah.
Well, those questions feel suddenly very real and very urgent.
Totally. And this SDK is already, people are saying it's really impressive in terms of its capabilities, like how effectively it can already perform these kinds of tasks.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there are web search,
Yeah.
It has a reported 90% accuracy on the simple QA benchmark. And so
Wow.
that's not perfect information, but it is a pretty significant step towards AI having reliable access to data, which, Bostrom talks about the oracle problem, how a superintelligence might be able to gather perfect information.
Oh, right. Yeah.
This isn't perfect, but
But it's getting there.
it's getting there, yeah.
Okay, so let's break this SDK down a bit. What exactly did OpenAI release on March 11th? Like, what are the nuts and bolts here?
So essentially, it's a set of tools for developers.
Okay.
And it's specifically for building these more advanced and autonomous AI agents.
Okay.
The key features, they include the ability for these agents to perform web searches like we were talking about with that high accuracy, and to interact with and use computers.
Right, right.
So that means you can program them to do a whole range of tasks, from basic data entry, navigating software, to more complex automated workflows.
Wow, so they're not just finding information. They're actually doing things with it.
Exactly. And the SDK works in tandem with their responses API, which is kind of the underlying system that lets the agents, take actions and generate outputs.
Okay, so that's I mean, it sounds like it could have a pretty huge impact on like how businesses work, how things operate.
Yeah.
Are there any early examples of companies actually using this technology, putting it into practice?
Yeah, even in these, very early stages, we're already seeing some pretty notable adoptions.
Yeah.
Like Coinbase, for example, they're
Yeah.
reportedly using OpenAI's technology to streamline some of their internal processes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then Stripe, which is, a huge player in online payments, they're integrating the SDK to automate various payment-related tasks.
So it's not just like small startups. This is like big companies are already jumping on this.
Yeah, exactly.
And what about the potential impact on like productivity? I've seen some pretty wild numbers being thrown around.
Yeah, the potential for productivity gains is definitely one of the biggest talking points here. Salesforce, for instance, they've reported seeing around a 30% increase in productivity with their own, AI-powered agents.
30%. That's enormous.
So the expectation is that this new OpenAI agents SDK could, unlock similar efficiency improvements across a lot of different industries.
But, Bostrom also talks about the potential downsides of this kind of rapid AI advancement, especially when it comes to, jobs. What's his take on that in relation to these, these AI agents?
Yeah, no, he definitely raises some really important concerns there. As much as we might get excited about the potential for increased productivity, we do have to think about what it means to the job market.
Right.
Gartner, for example, has projected that like around 33% of enterprise applications could be using AI agents by 2028. Wow. So that's a pretty significant shift. And as Bostrom points out, that kind of rapid integration could have pretty big implications for employment landscapes.
Okay, so now this SDK is open source, right?
Right.
What are the potential upsides and downsides of that?
Yeah, that's a really interesting aspect. On the one hand, open source has the potential to really accelerate innovation. It lets a wide community of developers experiment with the technology and build on it.
Right.
But on the other hand, it also raises questions about, reliability, about maintaining consistent quality.
Okay.
We've seen cases in the past, like with the Manus platform, where being open source didn't necessarily lead to a product that was, consistently dependable or robust. I mean, if we think about the Manus platform, we know that its open development faced challenges in getting a lot of people using it and consistent performance because, well, there were just so many people contributing and it wasn't like centrally controlled for quality.
Right.
So,
Yeah. So it's kind of a double-edged sword.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. There's a balance to be struck there.
Okay, so let's talk about Sam Altman's role in all of this. He's a big advocate for superintelligence, right?
He is. He's publicly recommended the book.
Yeah.
He said it offers, vital insights, especially about the potential risks of increasingly powerful AI.
Right.
So that kind of endorsement suggests that, OpenAI as a company is really taking the long-term implications of what they're building seriously.
So how does that perspective shape their strategy with this Agents SDK and their kind of broader vision for, where things are going in 2025?
Well, it seems like Altman's goal is really to make AI agents mainstream this year,
Wow.
like integrated into our work and our personal lives. He's even talked about AI agents effectively joining the workforce in 2025.
Wow.
So releasing this SDK, it feels like a very concrete step towards that vision. And the fact that the SDK supports what they call multi-agent workflows.
Yeah.
So that means multiple AI agents can actually work together, collaborate to achieve more complex goals.
Wow.
That suggests this could have applications in really intricate fields like healthcare, logistics,
Oh yeah.
all sorts of things.
So what's the reaction been like from the developer community?
No, there's definitely a lot of buzz.
Yeah.
Especially on platforms like X.
Yeah, of course.
You see developers saying that the SDK is, dramatically cutting down development times. Some are even saying it's going from like weeks to minutes.
Oh, wow.
So that kind of acceleration, that's a huge driver of innovation. But, as with any new technology, there are questions being raised, particularly about, the reliability, the robustness of the agents built using this SDK.
Right, right. Okay, so let's dig a little deeper into like how this SDK actually works, why it's such a big step forward in terms of creating these AI agents.
So as we said, it works together with their responses API, and together they give AI agents the ability to not just process information, but to act on it.
Hmm.
So for example, an agent could use the web search function to find, relevant data and then use the computer use capabilities to organize that data into a report or to actually, take actions based on what it finds.
So it's really moving towards like more autonomous and comprehensive task completion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, OpenAI has actually said they're planning to replace their Assistance API with this Agents SDK by the middle of 2026.
Oh, wow.
So that signals a pretty clear shift in their focus towards this agent-centric model for AI development. I mean, this is really hitting on what the OpenAI Agents SDK allows these systems to do.
Right, and we're already seeing examples of AI agents being used and scaling in different sectors, like even this year, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
FedEx, for instance, has reported a 20% increase in their drone deliveries,
Hmm.
which, those drones are basically specialized AI agents operating in the real world.
Yeah.
And OpenAI themselves, they've released their operator, which can automate a bunch of browser-based tasks.
Oh, okay.
So all of this, it brings us back to that framework from Superintelligence.
Right.
Uh, Bostrom's insights help us think about, the bigger picture of what this rapid increase in AI capability and deployment really means.
Yeah.
We talked about some of this in more detail in our earlier deep dive on AI agents.
Right.
You might find it interesting to go back and listen to that for some additional context.
Yeah, good point. Um, okay, so to sum it all up, it really feels like we're at this pivotal point in 2025.
It does.
The progress in AI agents, it's been really fast, and OpenAI's new SDK is it's kind of accelerating things even further, and that's bringing us closer to those future scenarios that Bostrom outlined in Superintelligence, which is it's exciting, but it's also it raises some really important questions for society, for all of us.
Definitely, yeah. It's seeing those long-term, almost theoretical questions becoming immediate and practical concerns.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, this is definitely giving me a lot to think about. Considering the powerful capabilities that this Agents SDK unlocks, and keeping in mind Bostrom's long-term perspective. What do you think? Like, what specific societal or practical challenges do you think are going to become most prominent as these AI agents become more and more integrated into our lives, into how we work? That's definitely something I'm going to be thinking about.
Yeah, me too. It's a big one.
Thanks for joining me for this deep dive today.
Yeah, it's been great. Thanks for having me.